She was just trying to survive one night shift at a time, a single mother working in the shadows while the city slept. He was a millionaire CEO hiding in the dark corner of her hotel, broken by betrayal and drowning in scandal. Their world should never have collided, but late-night coffee and whispered confessions have a way of breaking down walls neither of them meant to climb. What she didn't know was that his past wasn't done with him yet, and the woman who destroyed him was about to walk through those lobby doors with one mission: make sure the hotel clerk knew exactly where she belonged. This is a story about risking everything when you have nothing left to lose, and discovering that sometimes the person hiding in the dark is the one who can finally bring you into the light. Subscribe and comment below if you've ever taken a chance on someone everyone said was wrong for you, because this love story is about to test every boundary you thought couldn't be crossed. Maya pushed through the heavy glass doors of the Grand Meridian Hotel at exactly 10:45 p.m. Her sneakers squeaked against the polished marble floor. The lobby stretched out before her like a cathedral, all gleaming surfaces and golden light that bounced off crystal chandeliers. She'd never worked nights before, never worked at a hotel before either, but when your 7-year-old needs new shoes and the rent is due, you take what you can get. You must be Maya. A woman with silver hair and kind eyes emerged from behind the front desk. She wore a navy blazer with the hotel's gold crest on the pocket. "I'm Clara Benton, the night manager. Welcome to your first shift." Maya straightened her shoulders. "Thank you for the opportunity, Miss Benton." "Clara, please." The older woman's smile softened the formal lobby. "Let me show you the ropes. Nights are usually quiet. Most guests are asleep by midnight. Your main job is to answer the phone, handle any late check-ins, and make sure nothing catches fire." Maya laughed nervously. "I can do that." Clara walked her through the computer system, the key cards, the emergency protocols. It all felt overwhelming, but Maya nodded and took mental notes. She couldn't afford to mess this up. Derek was counting on her. "The lounge is through there," Clara said, pointing to an arched doorway that led to a darker space beyond. "Sometimes guests can't sleep and come down for a nightcap. Just let them be unless they need something." "Got it." Clara squeezed her arm. "You'll do great. I'll be in the back office if you need me, but you've got this." And then Maya was alone. The lobby felt bigger without Clara's warmth filling it. Maya settled into the leather chair behind the desk and tried to look confident, professional, like she belonged here among the marble and gold. The phone didn't ring. No guests appeared. The minutes crawled by. At 11:30, Maya decided to walk through the lobby, stretch her legs, make sure everything looked right. That's when she saw him. A man sat in the darkest corner of the lounge, slouched in a wingback chair that faced away from the light. She could barely make out his silhouette. He wasn't moving, just sitting there like a statue. Maya's heart picked up speed. Was he okay? Should she check on him? She took a few steps closer. The man wore an expensive-looking suit, rumpled like he'd been wearing it for days. His head was tilted back against the chair. Dark hair fell across his forehead. "Excuse me, sir." Maya's voice came out quieter than she intended. "Can I get you anything?" He didn't answer, didn't even flinch. Maya moved closer. "Sir." This time his head turned slightly, not enough to see his face, just enough to acknowledge her presence. "I'm fine." His voice was rough, deep, like he hadn't used it in a while. "Are you sure? I could bring you some water or—" "I said, I'm fine." The words hit like a slap. Maya stepped back, her cheeks burning. "Okay, sorry to bother you." She turned and walked back to the front desk, her pulse hammering. What was that guy's problem? She was just trying to help. But something about the way he sat there, so still, so alone in the dark, stayed with her for the rest of her shift, like he was waiting for something, or maybe running from something. When Clara came to check on her at 2 a.m., Maya almost mentioned the man in the lounge. But Clara looked tired, and Maya didn't want to seem jumpy on her first night. "Everything good?" Clara asked. "Perfect," Maya lied. She drove home as the sun started to threaten the horizon. Her apartment was quiet. Derek was asleep in his room, his babysitter dozing on the couch. Maya paid her, whispered her thanks, and locked the door behind her. In the kitchen, she made herself a cup of tea she was too tired to drink. Her mind kept drifting back to that man in the dark, the heaviness that seemed to radiate from him like heat from pavement. She shook her head. Not her problem. She was there to work, not worry about brooding strangers. The next night, Maya walked into the lobby with more confidence. She knew where things were now, knew the rhythm of the place. Clara greeted her with a smile. "How's Derek?" "Good. Asked me why I smell like fancy soap now." Maya grinned. "I told him it's the smell of paying rent." Clara laughed. You're going to fit in just fine here. As Clara disappeared into the back office, Maya settled behind the desk. She glanced toward the lounge, half expecting it to be empty. It wasn't. The same man sat in the same chair, wearing what looked like the same rumpled suit. He hadn't moved. Literally. It was like he'd been frozen there for 24 hours. Maya frowned. That couldn't be right. She pulled up the guest list on the computer, scanned the names. Most were families or business travelers, but one name stood out. Ethan Cole, Suite 412. Checked in 6 days ago. Maya chewed her lip. Should she try talking to him again? He'd made it pretty clear he wanted to be left alone, but something about the way he sat there tugged at her, like watching someone drown in slow motion. Before she could talk herself out of it, Maya poured 2 cups of coffee from the lobby pot. She walked into the lounge, her heart thumping against her ribs. I brought you coffee, she said, setting 1 cup on the small table beside him. This time he turned his head enough for her to see his profile, sharp jaw, dark stubble, eyes that looked like they'd forgotten how to see light. I don't want coffee. You look like you haven't slept in a week. Maya surprised herself with her boldness. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was something about his hopelessness that made her want to push back. Coffee might help, or at least give you something to do with your hands. He stared at her, really looked at her for the first time. His eyes were grey, storm cloud grey. You always this pushy? Only when someone looks like they're giving up. The words hung between them. Too honest, too direct. Maya wished she could take them back, but instead of getting angry, the man's mouth curved into something that might have been a smile once. Maybe I am. Then you're sitting in the wrong chair. Maya gestured to the rest of the lounge. That one's for people who still have fight left. You want to give up, you need the one by the window. Better view for your dramatic exit. This time, he actually smiled, barely, just the corners of his mouth lifting. What's your name? He asked. Maya. I'm Ethan. I know. She nodded toward the front desk. Computer told me. Of course it did. He picked up the coffee, took a sip. This is terrible coffee, Maya. I know, but it's free terrible coffee, so you should be grateful. Ethan laughed. The sound was rusty, like he hadn't done it in a long time, but it was real. Maya felt something warm spread through her chest. See? You're not dead yet. Not yet, he agreed. She left him with his terrible coffee and went back to the desk, trying to ignore the smile tugging at her own lips. The third night, Maya couldn't help herself. Before her shift, she Googled Ethan Cole on her phone in the parking lot. Her eyes went wide. CEO of Cole Industries. Tech entrepreneur. Worth millions. His face stared back at her from dozens of articles and photos. Always sharp, always confident. Nothing like the hollow man in the lounge. But it was the most recent articles that made her stomach drop. Headlines about a scandal, a public humiliation, his ex-fiancée and his business partner caught together, photos splashed across social media, the kind of betrayal that breaks people. Maya set her phone down and stared at the steering wheel. No wonder he was hiding in the dark. When she walked into the hotel, Clara pulled her aside immediately. Word to the wise, Clara said quietly. The man in the lounge? He's not just any guest. He's paying for his suite with a credit card that has no limit, and he asked us not to disturb him for anything. Not housekeeping, not phone calls, nothing. Management wants him left alone. Why? Because men like him can buy hotels like this without blinking. Clara's expression was gentle but firm. I see you being kind to him, that's good. But don't pry, Maya. Some people come here to disappear for a while. Let him. Maya nodded, but her mind was racing. She understood running away. She'd done it herself once when Derek's father left, and she couldn't face the questions, the pity, the I told you so's. Sometimes you needed to sit in the dark until you remembered how to stand in the light. That night, when Ethan appeared in his usual chair, Maya brought him coffee without asking. She set it down and started to walk away. Why do you keep talking to me? Maya turned back. Because everyone deserves someone who sees them, even in the dark. Ethan studied her for a long moment. You don't know me. I know enough. I know you're hiding. I know you're hurting. And I know that sitting alone in the dark isn't helping. She crossed her arms. So why are you here? In this hotel, instead of wherever you're supposed to be? Because there's nothing left there. The rawness in his voice made Maya's chest ache. She sat down in the chair across from him, even though she probably shouldn't. Even though Clara's warning echoed in her head. My son's father left when Derek was 2, Maya heard herself say. Just walked out one day and never looked back. For a long time I thought it was my fault. Thought I wasn't enough. Wasn't pretty enough. Smart enough, successful enough. I sat in my own kind of dark. Ethan leaned forward slightly. What made you stop? Derek. He needed me to be okay. So I decided to be okay. She met Ethan's eyes. Sometimes you don't get better for yourself. You get better because someone else needs you to. I don't have anyone who needs me. Everyone has someone, you just can't see them yet. Maya stood up, suddenly aware she'd shared too much, gotten too personal. I should get back to work. Thank you, Ethan said quietly. For the coffee. For this. Maya nodded and walked away, her heart beating strangely fast. After that, Ethan started waiting by the front desk instead of hiding in the lounge. Not hovering, just present. He'd lean against the marble pillar and make dry observations about the late-night guests who stumbled through the lobby. That one's having an affair, he'd murmur, as a nervous man checked in without luggage. That one's avoiding his wife, he'd note, as another guest took a phone call and lied about where he was. Maya tried not to encourage him, tried to stay professional, but it was hard when he made her laugh with just a raised eyebrow. One night, her phone rang while Ethan was lingering nearby. Maya answered it quickly, her voice tight. Hi, Mrs. Patterson. Yes, I know. I'm so sorry. No, I'll figure something out. Thank you. When she hung up, her hands were shaking. Everything okay? Ethan asked. Maya forced a smile. Just babysitter drama. She can't watch my son tomorrow night. You have a son? Derek. He's 7. Maya rubbed her forehead. Usually my neighbor watches him when I work, but she's got the flu. And the backup sitter just cancelled, so I'll need to call in sick tomorrow, which I really can't afford to do because... She stopped herself. Sorry, not your problem. Ethan was quiet for a moment. How old did you say he is? 7. Does he like chess? Maya blinked. What? Chess? Does your son like chess? I don't know. Why? Because if you're desperate tomorrow, bring him here. Ethan said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. I'll keep him entertained. Teach him chess. He can do homework in the lounge, whatever he needs. Maya stared at him. You're joking. I don't joke. Ethan's expression was serious. You helped me. Let me help you. I can't bring my kid to work. Clara loves kids. She told me she has 3 grandchildren. I'm sure she'd be fine with it. He shrugged. And I'll take responsibility. If it becomes a problem, I'll say I insisted, which is true. Maya wanted to say no, wanted to keep that wall up between her real life and this strange night shift world, but she was so tired, and Derek was so important, and the thought of losing even one shift's pay made her stomach hurt. One time, she said finally, just tomorrow, and if he bothers you at all, he won't. The next night, Maya brought Derek to the hotel with her heart in her throat. He clutched his backpack and stared up at the chandelier with wide eyes. Mama, this place is fancy. It's just a hotel, baby, come on. Clara took one look at Derek and melted. Oh, aren't you handsome and so polite? Maya, don't you worry about a thing. We'll take good care of him. Ethan appeared from the lounge like he'd been waiting. He'd shaved, changed into a fresh shirt. He looked almost like the man from those online photos, except his eyes were softer now. You must be Derek. Derek looked up at him solemnly. You're the man who's teaching me chess. That's right. You ready? I guess. Maya watched them disappear into the lounge, her heart twisting. Derek had never really had a man in his life. His father was gone. Her own father had passed when she was young. Seeing her son walk beside Ethan, this broken, hiding man who was still trying to do something kind, made her throat tight. For the next 3 hours, Maya kept glancing toward the lounge. She expected Derek to get bored, to come running back, but he didn't. When she finally went to check on them at midnight, she found Derek laughing, actually laughing. He sat across from Ethan at a small table, a chessboard between them. Ethan was showing him how to move the knight, making the piece hop in an L shape while making silly galloping sounds. And then the knight goes nay and jumps over everyone else because he's special, Ethan said seriously. Derek giggled. Knights don't say nay, Mr. Ethan. Mine do. Maya's eyes stung. She blinked hard and fast. Ethan looked up and saw her. Their eyes met across the dim lounge and something passed between them. Something warm and terrifying and real. He's beating me, Ethan said. Your son's a natural. I'm winning, Derek announced proudly. You sure are, baby. Maya's voice came out thick. Come on, time to go home. But Mama... Now, Derek. In the car, Derek wouldn't stop talking about Mr. Ethan and chess and how the hotel had 7 different kinds of cookies. Maya gripped the steering wheel and tried to steady her breathing. This was dangerous. Getting close to Ethan, letting Derek get close to him. Men like that didn't stay. They fixed themselves up and went back to their real lives, and people like her were left with the mess. But when she closed her eyes that night, all she could see was Ethan making horse noises with a chess piece just to make her son smile. The next night, Ethan was waiting by the desk when Maya arrived. "I shouldn't have suggested you bring your son," he said immediately. "That was overstepping, I'm sorry." Maya set down her bag. "Why are you apologizing?" "Because I saw your face last night. You looked scared, and I realized I was being selfish." He ran a hand through his hair. "I've been hiding here for weeks, and you've been kind to me. The least I can do is not complicate your life." "You made my son laugh," Maya said quietly. "He hasn't had many men in his life who've done that. Still, I should have thought about—" "Stop." Maya held up a hand. "Look, I appreciate what you did, more than you know, but you're right. This—" She gestured between them. "Whatever this is, it needs boundaries. You're a guest. I'm staff. You're hiding from your real life, and I'm just trying to survive mine. Getting tangled up doesn't help either of us." Ethan flinched like she'd slapped him. "Of course. You're absolutely right. I am." Maya tried to sound firm, tried to ignore the way her heart was sinking. "So let's just keep things professional, okay?" "Okay." But even as she said it, Maya knew it was a lie. You can't unknow someone. Can't unsee the way they light up when a 7-year-old laughs. Can't unfeel the warmth that spreads through your chest when they look at you like you're worth something. The night stretched on. Ethan stayed in the lounge. Maya stayed at the desk. The distance between them felt like miles. At 3 a.m., a drunk guest stumbled through the lobby, making too much noise. Maya asked him politely to keep it down. He responded by leaning over the desk and breathing bourbon fumes in her face. "Come on, sweetheart, don't be like that." His words slurred together. "You're too pretty to be so uptight. Sir, I need you to step back." "Or what?" He grinned, showing too many teeth. "You gonna call security? This place doesn't even have security." Maya's heart raced. She reached for the phone, but the man grabbed her wrist. "I said, don't be like that." Suddenly, Ethan was there. He didn't grab the man or yell. He just stood beside Maya, his presence solid and unmovable. "Let her go." His voice was quiet, deadly quiet. The drunk man looked up at Ethan, and whatever he saw made him release Maya's wrist immediately. "Hey, man, You were just leaving." Ethan didn't raise his voice. Didn't have to. "Now." The man stumbled toward the elevator, muttering under his breath. Maya's hands were shaking. She tried to steady them, but they wouldn't stop. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked. "I'm fine." "You're shaking." "I said I'm fine," but her voice cracked on the last word. Ethan gently took her hands in his. His palms were warm, steady. "You're allowed to not be fine." Maya looked up at him, at his grey eyes that had seen their own share of not fine, at the way he held her hands like they were something precious. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't have to thank me. Not for that. Not for anything." They stood there, hands clasped, the space between them charged with something Maya didn't want to name, couldn't afford to name. Then Clara's voice broke the moment. "Everything all right out here?" Maya pulled her hands back. "Everything's fine. Just a drunk guest being difficult." Clara looked between them, her expression knowing. But she didn't say anything, just nodded and went back to her office. "Your boundaries," Ethan said after a moment. "I think I just crossed them." Maya should have agreed, should have stepped back, should have rebuilt that wall. Instead, she said, "Maybe some boundaries need crossing." Ethan's eyes darkened. "Maya, I know. It's complicated. It's messy. It's probably a mistake." She took a breath. "But I can't pretend I don't feel this. Can you?" "No," he admitted. "I can't." They stared at each other across the front desk. The lobby was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic outside. And then the elevator dinged. A woman stepped out, tall, blonde, wearing designer clothes that probably cost more than Maya's car. She looked around the lobby with barely concealed disgust. Her eyes landed on Ethan. "There you are," she said. Her voice was cold honey. "I've been looking everywhere for you." Ethan's entire body went rigid. Sophie. Maya's stomach dropped. This was her, the ex-fiancée, the one who'd humiliated him, the one he was hiding from. Sophie walked across the lobby like she owned it. Her heels clicked against the marble. She didn't even glance at Maya. "We need to talk, Ethan. This has gone on long enough." Sophie reached for his arm. Ethan pulled away. "There's nothing to talk about." "Of course there is. You can't just disappear like this. People are asking questions. Your board of directors, your investors. Let them ask." Sophie's perfectly painted mouth tightened. Then, for the first time, she looked at Maya, really looked at her. "Oh, I see." Her smile was sharp, cruel. "This is what you've been doing, hiding in some cheap hotel chatting up the help." Maya's face burned. She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. "Don't talk to her like that," Ethan said, his voice dangerous. "Why not? What is she, Ethan? Some little distraction? A rebound to make you feel better about yourself?" Sophie laughed. "She's a front desk clerk. You're a CEO. Do you really think this is going to end well?" Each word was a knife. Maya felt them all sink in. "Get out," Ethan said. "Ethan, get out. Now." Sophie studied him for a long moment. Then she looked at Maya again, her expression pitying. "Good luck, sweetie. You're going to need it." She turned and walked back to the elevator, her heels clicking a sharp rhythm. When the doors closed behind her, the silence was deafening. Maya couldn't look at Ethan, couldn't breathe. All she could hear was Sophie's voice echoing in her head. "The help. Some little distraction. She's a front desk clerk. You're a CEO. Maya, I need to—" She grabbed her bag. "I need to go. Tell Clara I'm sick. Tell her anything. Please don't leave." But Maya was already moving toward the door, her vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. Not here, not in front of him, not in this marble lobby that suddenly felt like a cage. She burst through the glass doors into the cool night air and didn't look back. Behind her, Ethan stood alone in the empty lobby, his hands clenched at his sides, watching the only light he'd found in months walk away. Maya didn't go to work the next night, or the night after that. She called in sick both times, her voice flat and professional when she spoke to Clara. The older woman didn't push, just said she hoped Maya felt better soon. Maya didn't feel better. She felt like a fool. What had she been thinking? Getting close to Ethan Cole, letting Derek meet him, letting herself believe for even a second that a man like him could see something in a woman like her. "She's a front desk clerk. You're a CEO." Sophie's words played on repeat in her mind, over and over, a soundtrack to her humiliation. Derek noticed something was wrong. He kept asking about Mr. Ethan, about when they could play chess again. Maya made up excuses. Work was busy. Mr. Ethan was busy. The usual things adults say when they don't want to tell the truth. On the third night, Clara called her personal phone. "Maya, honey, I need you to come in. I'm short-staffed. I can't. Please, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important." Clara's voice was gentle. "And before you say no, Ethan's not here. He checked out yesterday. So whatever happened between you two, you don't have to worry about seeing him." Maya's chest constricted. He was gone. Of course he was gone. He'd hidden long enough. And now, he'd gone back to his real life, his real world, where women like Sophie existed and women like Maya didn't. "I'll be there in an hour," Maya said. The hotel felt different without Ethan in it, emptier. The lounge looked too dark, too quiet. Maya tried not to look at the chair where he used to sit. Clara hugged her when she arrived. "You okay, sweetheart?" "I'm fine." "That's what everyone says when they're not fine." Clara squeezed her shoulder. "But I'm glad you're here." The shift dragged. Every time someone walked through the lobby, Maya's heart jumped, which was stupid. He was gone. He wasn't coming back. At 2 a.m., the elevator dinged. Maya looked up out of habit. Ethan stepped out. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed, but he'd shaved again, and he was carrying 2 cups of coffee. Maya's breath caught in her throat. Ethan walked straight to the front desk and set 1 cup down in front of her. "I know you said boundaries, and I tried to respect that, I really did." He ran a hand through his hair. "I checked out, went back to my penthouse, tried to go back to my life, but all I could think about was you." Maya stared at the coffee cup. "Ethan, let me finish. Please." He took a breath. "What Sophie said to you was cruel and wrong. You're not a distraction. You're not some rebound. You're the first person in months who made me remember what it feels like to be human. You don't owe me an explanation." "Yes, I do. Because I saw your face when she talked to you like that. I saw how much it hurt." His voice cracked slightly. "And I hate that I brought that into your life." Maya finally looked up at him. His gray eyes were raw, open, everything she'd been trying to protect herself from. "Why did you come back?" she whispered. "Because I couldn't sleep. Because my apartment felt like a tomb. Because every time I closed my eyes, I saw you walking away." He leaned against the desk. "Because you were right. I was hiding, but not anymore." "What happened with her, with Sophie?" Ethan was quiet for a moment. "She and my business partner, my best friend, had been having an affair for months. They were planning to push me out of my own company, use the humiliation to make me step down." He laughed bitterly. "They almost succeeded. The scandal was everywhere. Every news outlet, every social media platform, everyone had an opinion about what a fool I was. Maya's heart ached for him. That's why you came here. I came here to disappear, to stop existing for a while. He looked at her. And then you brought me terrible coffee and told me I looked like I was giving up. And something in me woke up. Ethan? Maya didn't know what to say. Didn't know how to tell him that she'd been thinking about him too, that her apartment felt too quiet, without the anticipation of seeing him, that Derek kept asking when they could visit Mr. Ethan again. I'm not asking for anything, Ethan continued. I just needed you to know. You saved me, Maya, whether you meant to or not. Before Maya could respond, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her stomach dropped. Everything okay? Ethan asked. It's Derek's school. There's a payment overdue. She set the phone down, her cheeks burning. I thought I had until next week, but I must have read the notice wrong. How much? That's not your concern. Maya, I said it's not your concern. Her voice came out sharper than she intended. I can handle it. Ethan held up his hands. I know you can. I'm not suggesting you can't. But something in his expression made Maya defensive, like he was already trying to fix her problems, like she was a charity case. I need to finish my shift, she said, turning back to the computer. Ethan stood there for a moment longer. Then he picked up his coffee and walked back to the lounge. Maya tried to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting, to the overdue payment, to Derek's worried face when she told him they needed to be careful with money, to the way Ethan had looked at her like she was something breakable. She didn't want to be breakable. She'd worked too hard to be strong. Over the next week, Ethan came to the hotel every night. He didn't stay in the lounge anymore. He sat at the desk with Maya, keeping her company during the quiet hours. They talked about everything. His childhood as an only child with parents who expected perfection, her dreams of going to college before life happened, his love of old movies, her terrible singing voice. The way they both took their coffee, too much cream, not enough sugar, and slowly, carefully, Maya's walls started to crack. One night, a drunk guest started causing problems near the elevators, shouting, knocking over a decorative vase. Maya called security, but the hotel didn't have overnight security. It was just her and Clara. Ethan stood up. Stay here. You don't have to... But he was already walking toward the commotion. Maya watched, her heart in her throat, as Ethan approached the man with that same quiet authority he'd used before. He didn't touch him, didn't threaten, just talked in a low, steady voice until the man calmed down and agreed to go back to his room. When Ethan returned to the desk, Maya stared at him. How did you do that? Boardroom tactics. He shrugged. Angry people usually just want to be heard. You listen, you validate, you redirect. You made it look easy. It's not. I was terrified he was going to punch me. Maya laughed, actually laughed, and the sound surprised them both. I like that, Ethan said softly. What? Your laugh? You don't do it enough? Maya's cheeks warmed. Maybe I haven't had enough reasons. Maybe I can change that. Their eyes met, held. Something electric passed between them. The phone rang, shattering the moment. Maya answered it, her hands trembling slightly. When she hung up, Ethan was still watching her. What? She asked. Nothing, just, you're beautiful. I don't think I've told you that. Maya's breath caught. Ethan, I know. Boundaries. I'm sorry. But he didn't look sorry. He looked like he meant every word. The night everything shifted started normal enough. Maya arrived for her shift. Ethan was already there, waiting with coffee. Clara gave them both a knowing look and disappeared into the back office. Mrs. Patterson can't watch Derek next week, Maya said, as she logged into the computer. She's going out of town and I used up all my backup options. Bring him here again. Ethan, I'm serious. He can do his homework. We'll play chess. It'll be fun. Maya wanted to say no, wanted to keep that distance, but she was so tired, and Derek had been asking about Mr. Ethan constantly. One night, she said finally. Just one. Deal. When the night came, Derek practically ran into the hotel. He'd been talking about it all day, asking Maya if Mr. Ethan would remember him. Ethan was waiting in the lounge with the chessboard already set up. His whole face changed when he saw Derek, softened, like ice melting in the sun. Ready for a rematch? Ethan asked. I'm going to beat you this time, Derek announced confidently. We'll see about that. Maya watched them settle at the table, her chest tight with something she couldn't name. Derek looked so happy, so comfortable, like he belonged there with Ethan. And Ethan looked at her son like he mattered, like he was worth his time and attention. Clara appeared beside Maya. That's a good man, she said quietly. He's leaving eventually. They always do. Maybe. Or maybe he's finally found a reason to stay. Clara patted her arm. Don't let fear make you miss out on something real, sweetheart. Throughout the shift, Maya kept glancing at the lounge. Ethan and Derek were deep in conversation. Derek was telling some elaborate story about school, his hands waving dramatically. Ethan was listening like it was the most interesting thing he'd ever heard. At one point, Derek laughed so hard he nearly fell off his chair. Ethan caught him, steady and careful, and Derek just grinned up at him with pure joy. Maya had to look away. Her eyes were stinging. When midnight came, Maya went to collect her son, but she stopped in the doorway, frozen by what she saw. Derek had fallen asleep in his chair, his head resting on his folded arms. Ethan had draped his suit jacket over the boy's shoulders like a blanket. He fought sleep for an hour, Ethan said softly, noticing Maya. But the chess lecture got too boring. Thank you. For this. For him. Ethan looked at her. He's a great kid, Maya. You're doing an amazing job. I'm doing my best. It's not always enough. It's more than enough. Ethan stood up. He talks about you constantly, about how hard you work, how you make the best pancakes, how you read to him every night even when you're exhausted. His voice was gentle. You're his hero. Maya's throat tightened. She couldn't speak. Ethan took a step closer. And you're mine too. Don't say things like that. Why not? It's true. He was close enough now that she could see the flecks of blue in his gray eyes. You make me want to be better. You make me want to stop hiding and start living. You make me... Stop! Maya's voice broke. Please stop. Why? Because this can't work. You know it can't. She gestured between them. You're going back to your life eventually, your company, your world, your people, and I'll still be here, working nights and counting pennies. We're from different planets. I don't care about planets. You should, because when you leave, and you will leave, my son is going to be heartbroken, and so will I. The admission hung between them. I can't afford heartbreak, Ethan. I have too much to lose. Ethan reached for her hand. She let him take it. His palm was warm against hers. What if I'm not leaving? He asked. Everyone leaves. Not everyone. He squeezed her hand gently. My parents stayed together for 40 years. Clara's been at this hotel for 20. Your son hasn't left you even though life got hard. He paused. People stay when they find something worth staying for. Maya looked up at him, at this man who'd been broken and was slowly healing, at the way he held her hand like she was precious, at the care in his eyes. Am I worth staying for? She whispered. You're worth everything. The space between them disappeared. Ethan's free hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. Maya's heart was hammering so hard she could hear it in her ears. Tell me to stop, Ethan murmured. Tell me you don't feel this too. But Maya couldn't, because she did feel it. This terrifying, wonderful pull toward him. So instead, she rose on her toes and kissed him. The world tilted. Everything else fell away. There was just Ethan's mouth on hers, gentle and searching, his hand cradling her face like she was something delicate, the way he kissed her back like she was air and he'd been drowning. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. I'm falling for you, he said. I'm already halfway gone. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared. Me too. He pulled back to look at her. But I'm more scared of not trying, of wondering what if for the rest of my life. Mama, Derek's sleepy voice broke through the moment. Is it time to go home? Maya stepped back quickly, wiping her eyes. Yes, baby. Time to go home. Derek stood up, rubbing his eyes. Ethan's jacket fell from his shoulders. Ethan picked it up and draped it over his arm. Thanks for playing with me, Mr. Ethan, Derek said, yawning. Any time, buddy. Ethan ruffled his hair gently. You're getting better at chess. Next time you might actually beat me for real. I will, Derek declared. In the car, Derek chatted about the game, about Ethan's jokes, about how Mr. Ethan promised to teach him the Queen's Gambit next time. You like him, don't you, baby? Maya asked quietly. He's the best, Derek said simply. Then, even quieter, is Mr. Ethan going to be my dad? Maya's hands tightened on the steering wheel. It's complicated, Derek, but you like him, I can tell. Out of the mouths of babes. Maya glanced at her son in the rearview mirror. Yeah, I like him. Good. He likes you too, he told me. Maya's heart skipped. He did? Uh-huh. When you went to help that lady at the desk, Mr. Ethan said you were the nicest person he'd ever met, and the prettiest, and that he was lucky to know you. Tears pricked Maya's eyes again. She blinked them back. That was nice of him to say. It's true, though. Derek said matter-of-factly. You are nice, and pretty, and lucky. When they got home and Derek was tucked in bed, Maya sat in her dark kitchen and let herself feel everything she'd been holding back. The fear, the hope, the desperate wish that maybe, just maybe, this could be real. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Ethan. Clara gave me your number, I hope that's okay. I just wanted to make sure you got home safe. Maya smiled despite herself. She saved his number and typed back, We're home. Thank you for tonight. For Derek. The response came immediately. Thank you for trusting me with him and with you. Sleep well, Maya. She hugged her phone to her chest like a teenager, then felt silly for it, but she didn't stop smiling. Over the next few weeks, something shifted between them. The careful distance disappeared. Ethan started texting her during the day. Stupid jokes, photos of terrible coffee, questions about her favorite movies. Maya found herself looking forward to his messages almost as much as seeing him at night. He started bringing her real coffee from a shop downtown, better than the hotel brew, with the exact right amount of cream. One night, he showed up with flowers. Nothing fancy, just a small bouquet of daisies. You didn't have to do that, Maya said, but her cheeks were pink. I wanted to. Ethan set them on the desk. They reminded me of you, cheerful, unpretentious, beautiful. Clara walked by and made a deliberate coughing sound that wasn't subtle at all. Maya and Ethan both laughed. She's not even trying to hide it anymore, Maya said. Hide what? The fact that she's rooting for us. Smart woman. Ethan leaned on the desk. So am I. The touches became more frequent, his hand on her back when he passed behind her, her fingers brushing his when he handed her coffee. Small moments that added up to something bigger. One quiet night around 3 a.m. when the hotel was completely silent, Ethan asked her to take a break. Come on, just 15 minutes. You've been on your feet all night. I can't just leave the desk. Clara's in the back, she'll cover. He held out his hand. Please. Maya looked at his outstretched hand, at the hope in his eyes, at the vulnerability he was offering. She took his hand. Ethan led her outside through the lobby doors. The night air was cool and clean. The city was quiet for once, just the distant sound of traffic and the rustle of leaves. Where are we going? Maya asked. Nowhere. We're just walking. They walked down the empty sidewalk hand in hand, not talking, just being together. Eventually, Ethan broke the silence. Tell me something you've never told anyone. Maya thought about it. I wanted to be a teacher. Before Derek, before everything. She looked up at the stars. I had this whole plan. Go to college, get my degree, teach elementary school, help kids learn, make a difference. You still could. I'm 28 with a 7-year-old and no degree. That ship sailed. Ships can come back to port. Ethan squeezed her hand. It's not too late. Says the CEO who probably has 3 degrees. 2. And I got them because my parents expected it, not because I wanted them. He paused. You want to teach because you love kids, because you want to make a difference. That matters more than a piece of paper. Maya felt her eyes sting. You make it sound possible. Because it is. Ethan stopped walking and turned to face her. You're one of the strongest people I know, Maya. You work nights, raise an amazing kid, and still find the energy to be kind to a broken stranger hiding in a hotel lounge. If you want to be a teacher, you'll figure out how. You really believe that? I really do. They stood there on the empty sidewalk, the streetlights casting shadows across Ethan's face. Maya's heart was so full it hurt. Your turn, she said. Tell me something you've never told anyone. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. I've never felt like this before, he said finally. Even with Sophie, even when I thought I was in love, it never felt like this. Like what? Like home. His voice was rough. Like I could spend every night for the rest of my life just talking to you, and it still wouldn't be enough. Maya couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but stare at him. I'm falling in love with you, Ethan said. Maybe I've already fallen. I don't know. I just know that when I'm with you, I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not broken. I'm just me, Ethan. Maya's voice was barely a whisper. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. He cupped her face in his hands. You make me want to be brave again. Maya leaned into his touch. I'm terrified. Of what? Of this being too good. Of waking up and finding out it was all a dream. She closed her eyes. Of you realizing I'm not enough. You're everything. And then he kissed her. Really kissed her. Not the tentative kiss from before. This was deeper, hungrier, a promise and a question all at once. Maya kissed him back with everything she had. All her fear and hope and desperate longing poured into that kiss. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard. Ethan rested his forehead against hers. "Come to dinner with me," he said. "You and Derek. Let me take you both out. A real date." Maya wanted to say yes, wanted it so badly, but worry crept in. "Your world and mine." "Stop. There's no your world and my world. There's just us." He pulled back to look at her. "Say yes, Maya." She looked at him, at this man who'd been hiding in the dark and was now standing in the light, asking her to stand there with him. "Yes," she whispered. Ethan's smile could have lit up the entire city. They walked back to the hotel slowly, neither wanting the moment to end. When they reached the doors, Ethan pulled her in for one more kiss, soft and sweet. "I'll pick you and Derek up Sunday at noon," he said. "Wear something comfortable. We're going somewhere special." "Where?" "It's a surprise." The rest of the shift passed in a blur. Maya couldn't stop smiling, couldn't stop replaying every word, every touch. Clara noticed immediately. "Well, look at you glowing." "I'm not glowing. Honey, you could light up the whole state of New Jersey right now." Clara grinned. "About time you let yourself be happy." When Maya got home, she found Derek awake in his room, playing with his toy cars. "Baby, what are you doing up?" "Couldn't sleep." Derek looked up at her. "Mama, can Mr. Ethan really be my friend? Like my real friend?" Maya sat on his bed. "What do you mean?" "Tommy at school says that grown-ups don't want to be friends with kids unless they have to, that Mr. Ethan is probably just being nice because of you." Maya's heart broke a little. "Tommy doesn't know Mr. Ethan, but I do. And I promise you, baby, Mr. Ethan likes you for you, not because of me." "Really?" "Really. In fact, he wants to take us both out to dinner on Sunday. Would you like that?" Derek's face lit up like Christmas morning. "Really? Like a real dinner, all three of us?" "All three of us." Derek threw his arms around her neck. "This is the best day ever." Maya hugged him back, breathing in his little boy's smell of soap and innocence. "Get some sleep now, okay?" "Okay, Mama." He settled back into bed, grinning. "I'm gonna dream about chess." As Maya closed his door, she heard him whisper to himself, "We're gonna be a family." The words echoed in the quiet hallway. A family. Was that what this was becoming? Maya went to her room and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Everything was moving so fast. Too fast. But it felt right in a way nothing had felt right in years. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Ethan. "I can't stop thinking about you." Maya smiled and typed back, "Good. I'd be worried if you could. Sunday can't come fast enough. It's only 2 days away. 2 days, too many. Sleep well, beautiful." Maya hugged her phone again, not even caring how silly it was. For the first time in years, she let herself hope, let herself believe that maybe happy endings weren't just for other people. Maybe they could be for her too. Sunday arrived bright and clear. Maya changed her outfit 3 times before Derek told her she looked pretty in all of them. "Just pick one, Mama. Mr. Ethan likes you no matter what." Out of the mouths of babes again. She settled on a simple blue dress and sandals. Nothing fancy, but it made her feel pretty, feminine, like herself, but better. When the knock came at noon exactly, Derek ran to answer it. Ethan stood in the doorway holding a small gift bag. He wore jeans and a button-down shirt, casual and relaxed. His eyes went straight to Maya. "You look beautiful," he said. "You clean up nice yourself." Ethan grinned and turned to Derek. "I brought you something, buddy." Derek's eyes went wide. "For me?" "For you." Inside the bag was a wooden chess set, not expensive or fancy, just sturdy and well-made, perfect for a 7-year-old. "Now you can practice at home," Ethan explained. "So next time you really will beat me." Derek launched himself at Ethan, hugging him tight. Ethan looked surprised for a moment, then wrapped his arms around the boy, his expression soft. Maya had to look away before she started crying. They took Ethan's car, a nice sedan, not the flashy sports car Maya had half expected. He drove them to a park outside the city. Not fancy, just open and green and full of families. There was a picnic basket in the trunk. "I thought we could eat outside," Ethan said. Derek mentioned he likes parks. They spread out a blanket under a big oak tree. Ethan had brought sandwiches, fruit, cookies, juice boxes for Derek. It was perfect, simple and perfect. Derek ran off to play on the swings. Maya and Ethan sat on the blanket watching him. "You didn't have to do all this," Maya said. "I wanted to. I wanted to do something normal, something real." Ethan looked at her. "No hotels, no fancy restaurants, just us. This is nice, really nice." They watched Derek play, calling for them to watch him go higher on the swings. They cheered for him, clapped when he did a little jump off the swing. At one point, Ethan lay back on the blanket, looking up at the sky through the tree branches. Maya lay beside him. "I haven't done this since I was a kid," Ethan said. "What?" "Just laid in the grass, watched clouds, existed without a purpose." Maya threaded her fingers through his. "Sometimes that's the best way to exist." They lay there in comfortable silence. Derek ran over eventually, flopping between them and declaring he was starving. They ate sandwiches and laughed at Derek's jokes. Ethan taught Derek how to whistle. Maya taught them both a hand-clapping game her grandmother had taught her. For a few hours they were just three people enjoying a Sunday. No past, no complications, just sunshine and laughter and ease. As the afternoon wore on, Derek fell asleep on the blanket, worn out from playing. Ethan carefully moved him so his head rested on Maya's lap. "He's a good kid," Ethan said softly. "The best," Maya agreed, stroking Derek's hair. "You're doing an amazing job with him." "I'm trying. Some days I feel like I'm failing, like I'm not giving him enough." "You're giving him everything that matters. Love, stability, a mother who works herself to the bone to provide for him." Ethan's voice was thick with emotion. "He's lucky to have you." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you." "For what?" "For seeing me, really seeing me. Not just the front desk clerk, not just the single mom struggling, but me." Ethan reached over and took her hand. "I see you, Maya, every part of you, and I'm not going anywhere." As the sun started to set, painting the sky orange and pink, Maya let herself believe it, let herself hope that this wasn't temporary, that this wasn't going to end in heartbreak. Let herself imagine a future where all three of them could have days like this. But as Ethan drove them home, Maya's phone buzzed with a notification, a Google alert she'd set up weeks ago without really thinking about it. Ethan Cole returns to coal industries. Shareholders pleased by CEO's return. Her stomach dropped. She glanced at Ethan, but he was focused on the road, chatting with Derek about their next chess game. He was going back to his real life, back to where he belonged, and she'd been a fool to think otherwise. Maya didn't say anything about the article. Not on the drive home, not when Ethan walked them to their door, not when he kissed her goodbye, soft and sweet, while Derek was putting his new chess set in his room. "I'll see you tonight?" Ethan asked. "At the hotel?" "Yeah, tonight." Maya forced a smile. But after he left, she pulled up the article on her phone and read every word. After weeks away from the public eye, tech CEO Ethan Cole has returned to coal industries. The company's stock rose 12% on news of his return. Sources say Cole is ready to put the scandal behind him and refocus on business. "He's stronger than ever," a board member told reporters. This experience only made him more determined. There were photos. Ethan in a sharp suit walking into a gleaming office building. Ethan shaking hands with men in expensive ties. Ethan looking every inch the powerful CEO he'd always been. Nothing like the man who'd taught her son chess, who'd brought her flowers, who'd laid in the grass watching clouds. That man didn't belong in her world, and she'd been stupid to pretend he did. "Mama?" Derek appeared in the doorway. "Can we practice chess?" Maya put her phone down. "Of course, baby." They set up the wooden chess set on the kitchen table. Derek chatted about Mr. Ethan, about the park, about how this was the best day ever. Maya's heart broke with every word. That night at work, Maya kept her distance. When Ethan arrived with coffee, she thanked him politely but didn't invite him to sit. When he tried to talk, she gave short answers. "Is everything okay?" Ethan finally asked. "Everything's fine, just busy." "Maya, I have to check something in the back." She stood up quickly. "Excuse me." She practically ran to Clara's office. The older woman looked up in surprise. "Honey, what's wrong?" "Nothing. I just needed a minute." Clara studied her face. "This is about Ethan, isn't it?" Maya didn't answer, didn't trust her voice. "He came back to his company," Clara said gently. "I saw the news. That's good, right? It means he's healing. It means he's going back to his real life. And you think that life doesn't include you?" "I know it doesn't." Maya's voice broke. "Look at me, Clara. I'm a single mom working a night shift at a hotel. He's a millionaire CEO. We were fooling ourselves. The only person fooling themselves right now is you." Clara's voice was firm. "That man looks at you like you hung the moon. He spent his Sunday afternoon in a park eating sandwiches and teaching your son chess. Does that sound like a man who's leaving? He has to leave. His world and mine. Stop it. Just stop." Clara stood up and took Maya's hands. I've worked in this hotel for 20 years. I've seen a lot of people come through these doors. And I can tell you, what you and Ethan have is rare. Real. Don't throw it away because you're scared. What if I'm not enough for him? What if you are? Clara squeezed her hands. What if you're exactly enough? But Maya couldn't shake the fear. It wrapped around her chest like a vice, making it hard to breathe. When she went back to the desk, Ethan was gone. She told herself it was better this way. Cleaner. Her phone buzzed. Did I do something wrong? Maya stared at the text. She should answer, should explain, but the words wouldn't come. Another text appeared. Please talk to me, Maya. She turned her phone face down on the desk. The next night, Maya called in sick. And the night after that, she couldn't face him, couldn't look into those grey eyes and tell him they had no future. It was easier to just disappear. Let him figure it out on his own. Derek kept asking about Mr. Ethan. When could they see him again? Could they go to the park again? Could they play chess? Maya made up excuses. Mr. Ethan was busy with work. They'd see him soon, maybe next week, but the lies tasted like ash in her mouth. On the third night, Clara called her. He's here, Maya, at the hotel, every night, just sitting in the lounge, waiting for you. I can't. Yes, you can. You're just scared. Clara's voice softened. But honey, running away doesn't make the feelings go away. It just makes them hurt more. Tell him I'm sick. I already did. He doesn't believe me. And honestly, neither do I. Clara paused. Don't let fear steal your happiness, sweetheart. Not when it's right there waiting for you. After Clara hung up, Maya sat in her dark kitchen and cried. Big, ugly sobs that shook her whole body. She'd been so stupid, so foolish to let herself hope, to let Derek hope. Mama. Derek's voice was small from the doorway. Why are you crying? Maya wiped her eyes quickly. I'm okay, baby. Just tired. Is it because of Mr. Ethan? She couldn't lie to him. Not about this. Yeah, it's because of Mr. Ethan. Derek climbed into her lap even though he was getting too big for it. He wrapped his arms around her neck. Did he do something bad? No, baby. He didn't do anything bad. Then why are you sad? How did you explain to a 7-year-old that sometimes love isn't enough? That sometimes the world gets in the way? That sometimes people from different places can't bridge the gap, no matter how much they want to? It's complicated, Maya whispered. Do you love him? The question hit her like a punch. Did she love him? Was that what this aching, terrifying feeling was? I don't know, Maya said honestly. I think you do. Derek pulled back to look at her. Because you smile different when you talk about him. And you look happy. And you never look happy, Mama, not really. Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. Oh, baby. I want you to be happy, even if it's scary. Derek wiped her tears with his small hands. Mr. Ethan makes you happy. So you should see him, okay? Maya hugged him tight, breathing in his little boy smell. When had her son gotten so wise? Okay, she whispered. Okay. The next night, Maya went to work. Her hands were shaking as she pushed through the hotel doors. Ethan was there, sitting in the lounge in that same wingback chair where she'd first seen him. But this time, he looked different, smaller somehow, defeated. Maya's heart twisted. She walked to the front desk and logged in, waited, wondered if he'd come to her, or if she'd have to go to him. After 10 minutes, Ethan appeared at the desk. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed. The sharp CEO from those photos was gone. This was the broken man she'd met weeks ago. Hi, he said quietly. Hi, I thought maybe you weren't coming back. I'm here. They stared at each other. The silence stretched, heavy and painful. Did I push too hard? Ethan asked. With the date? With Derek? I know I can be intense, and if I scared you... You didn't scare me. Then what did I do? Because 1 minute everything was perfect, and the next you disappeared. His voice cracked. Talk to me, Maya, please. Maya's hands were shaking. She gripped the edge of the desk. I saw the article about you going back to your company. Understanding dawned on Ethan's face. And you thought... I thought you were going back to your real life, where you belong. My real life? Ethan looked genuinely confused. Maya, this is my real life. You, Derek, Sunday afternoons in the park. This is the most real I've been in years. But you're a CEO. You have a company, responsibilities, a world I can't be part of. Who says you can't be part of it? Sophie did, and she was right. Maya's voice was barely above a whisper. I'm a front desk clerk. You're worth millions. We're from different universes, Ethan, and I was stupid to think we could make it work. Ethan's jaw tightened. Sophie was wrong. About everything, about me, about you, about us. Was she, though? Look at us. Maya gestured between them. You wear suits that cost more than my rent. You have a penthouse. I have a one-bedroom apartment with peeling paint. You went to fancy schools. I barely finished high school. How is this supposed to work? None of that matters. It all matters, Maya's voice broke, because when this ends, and it will end, my son is going to be heartbroken. He's already attached to you. He talks about you constantly. He thinks we're going to be a family. Tears streamed down her face. And I can't let him believe that. I can't let him get hurt when you realize we're not enough for you. You are enough. Ethan came around the desk, moving into her space. You're more than enough. You're everything. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. He cupped her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. Yes, I went back to my company. But do you know why? Because I realized I can't hide from my life forever. I have responsibilities, people depending on me, but that doesn't mean I'm leaving you. You'll get tired of slumming it. Stop, just stop. Ethan's voice was fierce. You think my life was so great before? I had money and success and a fiancé who smiled for the cameras, and I was empty, hollow, going through the motions of living without actually being alive. He pressed his forehead to hers. Then I met you. You brought me terrible coffee and told me I looked like I was giving up. You made me laugh, made me feel, made me want to wake up in the morning instead of dreading it. Ethan, I love you. The words hung in the air between them. I'm in love with you, Maya, not because you're some distraction or rebound, because you're you, because you're strong and kind and beautiful and real, because when I'm with you, I'm the man I want to be, instead of the man everyone expects me to be. Maya was crying so hard she could barely see. I'm scared. I know. So am I. Ethan wiped her tears with his thumbs. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. What about your company? Your life? My company can survive without me being there 24/7. I hired good people, I trust them. And as for my life, he smiled softly, my life is wherever you are. Maya's walls were crumbling. Every word he said chipped away at her defenses. I don't know how to do this. How to be with someone like you. There's no someone like me. There's just me, just Ethan. The guy who can't make coffee worth a damn. Who lost at chess to a 7-year-old. Who spent 3 weeks hiding in a hotel because he didn't know how to face the world. His voice was rough. I'm not perfect, Maya. I'm just a man who's completely in love with you. I love you too, Maya whispered. The words spilled out before she could stop them. God help me. I love you so much it terrifies me. Ethan kissed her, deep and desperate and full of promise. Maya kissed him back, pouring every ounce of fear and hope and love into it. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. We'll figure this out, he said. Together, one day at a time. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? He pulled back to look at her. Give us a chance, Maya. A real chance. Not 1 foot out the door, not waiting for me to leave. Just us, fighting for this. Maya looked into his grey eyes, saw the vulnerability there, the hope, the love, and for the first time, she let herself believe it could work. Okay, she said. Okay. The next evening, there was a knock on Maya's apartment door. She opened it to find Ethan standing there, nervous and hopeful. Hi, he said. Hi. Maya stepped aside. Come in. Ethan walked into her small apartment, took in the worn furniture, the peeling paint, the toys scattered on the floor. If he was judging, it didn't show on his face. Mr. Ethan! Derek came running from his room. You're here! Ethan caught him in a hug. Hey, buddy, miss me? So much! Mama said you were busy, but I knew you'd come back. Over Derek's head, Ethan's eyes met Maya's. The look on his face said everything. I'm here, I'm staying, I'm not going anywhere. I brought pizza, Ethan said, holding up a bag Maya hadn't noticed. And garlic bread. And that chocolate cake Derek likes. You remembered. Derek bounced on his toes. Of course I remembered. They ate dinner at Maya's tiny kitchen table. It was cramped and chaotic and perfect. Derek talked non-stop about school and chess and a new game he wanted to play. Ethan listened to every word like it was the most important thing he'd ever heard. Maya watched them together, watched Ethan laugh at Derek's jokes, watched him help cut Derek's pizza into smaller pieces without being asked, watched him fit into their life like he'd always been there. After dinner, they played chess in the living room. Maya sat on the couch, curled up with a blanket, watching her 2 favorite people battle over a wooden board. Checkmate, Derek announced triumphantly. No way, Ethan studied the board. You actually beat me, fair and square. I told you I would. You did. You're officially better at chess than I am. Ethan ruffled his hair. I'm proud of you, buddy. Derek beamed. Then, casually, like it was the most natural thing in the world, he asked, "Are you going to be my dad now?" The room went silent. Maya's heart stopped. Ethan didn't look flustered, didn't panic. He just looked at Derek with complete honesty. "Would you like that?" Ethan asked gently. "For me to be part of your family?" "Yeah, I really would." Derek's voice was small, hopeful. "I never had a dad before." Ethan glanced at Maya. She nodded, her eyes filling with tears. "Well," Ethan said, turning back to Derek, "I never had a son before, but I'd really like to have one, if that's okay with you." "Really? Really?" Ethan pulled Derek into a hug. "You're an amazing kid, Derek, and I'd be honored to be your dad." Derek wrapped his arms around Ethan's neck and held on tight. Maya could see Ethan's eyes were wet too. When Derek finally pulled back, he was grinning. "This is the best day ever." "It really is," Ethan agreed, his voice thick. Later, after Derek was in bed, Maya and Ethan sat on the couch together. Ethan had his arm around her. Maya's head rested on his shoulder. "Thank you," Maya whispered. "For what?" "For being honest with him. For not making promises you can't keep." "I only make promises I intend to keep." Ethan kissed the top of her head. "I meant what I said. I want to be part of his life, part of your life, for real. Not just nights at the hotel or Sunday picnics. I want mornings and afternoons and boring weeknights. I want all of it." Maya tilted her head to look up at him. "You're really not going to get tired of this? Of us?" "Never." He cupped her face. "You keep asking me if I'm going to leave. But Maya, I'm not the one who pulled away. You did, because you were scared." "I was," she admitted. "I still am. That's okay. Fear means it matters. It means you're risking something real." He traced her cheekbone with his thumb. "But I need you to promise me something." "What?" "If you get scared again, don't run. Talk to me. Let me in. Let me prove that I'm not going anywhere." His grey eyes were intense. "Can you do that?" Maya thought about it, about her history of running when things got hard, about the walls she'd built to protect herself and Derek, about how those walls had kept her safe, but also alone. "I can try," she said. "That's all I'm asking." He kissed her then, slow and deep and full of promise. Maya melted into him, letting herself believe, letting herself hope. When they broke apart, Ethan smiled. "So, tomorrow night at the hotel? You're still coming? Every night until you tell me to stop." He stood up, pulling her with him. "And maybe even after that." Maya walked him to the door. They stood in the hallway, neither wanting to say goodbye. "I love you," Ethan said, in case I didn't make that clear enough earlier. "I love you too." Maya rose on her toes to kiss him. "Drive safe, always." After he left, Maya leaned against the closed door and smiled, really smiled. The fear was still there, lurking at the edges, but it was smaller now, manageable. She checked on Derek before going to bed. He was fast asleep, clutching his chess piece, the white knight, in one hand. Maya kissed his forehead. "We're going to be okay, baby," she whispered. "All of us." And for the first time in a long time, she believed it. The next week passed in a blur of happiness. Ethan came to the hotel every night, keeping Maya company during her shifts. He brought coffee and snacks and stories about his day. He asked about hers. They talked and laughed and stole kisses when Clara wasn't looking. On his nights off, Maya brought Derek to meet Ethan for dinner. Nothing fancy, just burgers and fries and ice cream. Normal dates that felt extraordinary because they were together. Slowly, carefully, they were building something, a foundation, a life. But Maya knew they couldn't hide forever. Eventually, they'd have to face his world, the company parties, the business dinners, the people who judge her for not being enough. She tried not to think about it, tried to just enjoy the present. But the future had a way of showing up whether you were ready or not. One night, as Maya was checking in a late arrival, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Well, well, look who's still here." Maya's blood ran cold. She turned slowly. Sophie stood in the lobby, dressed in a designer coat and heels that probably cost more than Maya's car. Her blonde hair was perfect, her makeup flawless. She looked like she belonged in a magazine. "Sophie," Maya kept her voice steady, "can I help you with something? You can stop playing house with my fiancé." Sophie's smile was sharp. "Ex-fiancé, whatever. Ethan's not here." "Oh, I know. I checked his schedule. He's at a board meeting until 10. Sophie walked closer. "Which gives us time to talk. Woman to woman." Maya's heart was racing, but she kept her face neutral. "I don't think we have anything to talk about, don't we?" Sophie leaned on the desk. "You really think this is going to last? You and Ethan playing Romeo and Juliet across the class divide? That's none of your business." It became my business when he threw away everything we built together. Sophie's voice turned cold. Do you have any idea what you've done? He's stepping back from the company, delegating to underlings, missing important meetings, all because he's too busy playing daddy to your little boy. The words hit like a slap. He's not playing anything, isn't he? Come on, Maya, be realistic. How long do you think a man like Ethan is going to be satisfied with a woman like you? Sophie's eyes raked over her. You're pretty enough, I suppose, in a simple, wholesome way, but you're not sophisticated, not educated, not his equal, and eventually he's going to notice. You don't know anything about us. I know him. I was with him for 3 years. I know he gets bored easily. I know he likes the chase more than the catch. I know, Sophie's voice turned sharp, that you're a novelty, a distraction, and when he's done playing savior, he'll come back to his real life, without you. Maya's hands were shaking. Every word Sophie said fed into her deepest fears, the ones she'd been trying so hard to silence. He loves me, Maya said, but her voice sounded uncertain even to her own ears. He thinks he does. But love isn't enough, sweetie. Not in the real world. Not when there are board meetings and charity galas and business dinners where you'd stick out like a sore thumb. Sophie's smile was pitying. You're going to embarrass him, and yourself, and eventually he'll realize it. Better to end it now, before you get even more attached. Before your son gets hurt. The mention of Derek made Maya's stomach twist. Leave my son out of this. I'm trying to help you. Sophie's voice turned almost gentle. I've been where you are, believing the fantasy, thinking love conquers all. But it doesn't. Reality always wins. And the reality is that you and Ethan are from different worlds. He'll always be the CEO, and you'll always be the hotel clerk he met during his breakdown. Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Every word Sophie said echoed in her head, confirming everything she'd been afraid of. Walk away now, Sophie said softly, before it's too late, before you get hurt, before your son falls even more in love with a man who's going to leave. Save yourself the heartbreak, Maya, because I promise you it's coming. Sophie straightened up and walked toward the door. Then she paused and looked back. He'll thank you for it eventually. So will you. And then she was gone, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts and her fears, and the terrible certainty that maybe, just maybe, Sophie was right. Maya made it through the rest of her shift on autopilot. Her hands moved mechanically, checking in guests, answering phones, filing paperwork, but her mind was somewhere else entirely. You're a novelty, a distraction. You'll always be the hotel clerk he met during his breakdown. Better to end it now, before your son gets hurt. When Ethan arrived at the hotel just before midnight, Maya couldn't look at him. Hey, beautiful. He leaned over the desk to kiss her cheek. Sorry I'm late. The board meeting ran long, but I brought you. He stopped. What's wrong? Nothing. I'm just tired. Maya. He said her name like a question. Talk to me. I'm fine, really. She forced a smile. How was your meeting? Ethan studied her face. What happened? Nothing happened. I'm just... Sophie was here, wasn't she? Maya's eyes snapped to his. How did you know? Because you're doing that thing where you pull away, where you put up walls. Ethan came around the desk. What did she say to you? It doesn't matter. It matters to me. His voice was gentle but firm. Please, Maya, tell me. Maya's throat was tight. She said this isn't going to last, that I'm going to embarrass you, that you're going to get bored and leave, that I should end it now before Derek gets hurt. The words tumbled out faster and faster. And she's right, Ethan, she's right about all of it. No, she's not. Yes, she is. Maya's voice cracked. I've been trying not to see it, but it's true. We're from different worlds. I don't belong in your life, not really, and eventually you're going to realize that. Stop. Ethan gripped her shoulders gently. Listen to me. Sophie is bitter and angry because I chose you over her. She's trying to poison what we have because she can't stand seeing me happy. But what if she's not wrong? What if I am just a distraction? What if you're not a distraction? You're the woman I love, the woman I want to build a life with. His grey eyes were intense. I don't care what Sophie says. I don't care what anyone says. You're it for me, Maya. Maya wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly, but fear had wrapped itself around her heart, like chains. I need some time, she whispered. To think. Ethan's face fell. Time for what? To figure out if this is really what's best. For me. For Derek. She couldn't meet his eyes. For you. Don't do this. Don't let her win. I'm not letting anyone win. I'm trying to protect my son. Maya's voice was shaking. He's already so attached to you. If this falls apart, it won't fall apart. You can't promise that. The words came out too loud, too desperate. You can't promise you won't wake up one day and realize I'm not enough, that I can't fit into your world, that you made a mistake. Ethan looked like she'd punched him. Is that really what you think? That you're a mistake? Maya's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to think anymore. They stood there in the silent lobby, the space between them feeling like miles. Finally, Ethan took a step back. Okay, if you need time, I'll give you time. His voice was rough. But Maya, I'm not giving up on us. I'm not walking away. So take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready. He turned and walked toward the elevator. Maya watched him go, her heart breaking with every step. When the elevator doors closed, she sank into her chair and let the tears fall. Maya didn't go back to the hotel for 3 days. She called in sick again, her voice hollow when Clara answered. Honey, you can't keep running from this, Clara said gently. I'm not running. I just need to think. Thinking is good, but hiding isn't. Clara sighed. He's here, you know, every night, just sitting in that lounge waiting. Maya's chest ached. Tell him to stop. I'm not telling him anything. That's between you two. Clara paused. But Maya, that man loves you. Really loves you. Don't let fear make you throw that away. After Clara hung up, Maya sat in her dark apartment and tried to make sense of everything. She made lists in her head, pros and cons, reasons to stay, reasons to go. But every time she tried to convince herself they had no future, she remembered the way Ethan looked at Derek, the gentle way he taught him chess, the patience in his voice, the love in his eyes. She remembered lying in the grass together, watching clouds, the feeling of his hand in hers, the way he made her laugh, made her feel seen, made her feel like maybe, just maybe, she deserved to be happy. Derek was quieter than usual. He didn't ask about Mr. Ethan anymore, just played with his chess set alone, moving pieces around the board like he was playing against a ghost. On the 4th night, Maya tucked him into bed. Derek looked up at her with sad eyes. Did I do something wrong? He asked. Is that why Mr. Ethan isn't coming anymore? Maya's heart shattered. Oh, baby, no, you didn't do anything wrong. Then why is he gone? It's complicated, Derek. That's what grown-ups always say when they don't want to tell the truth. Derek's voice was small. Do you not love him anymore? I do love him so much. Then why can't we see him? How did you explain fear to a 7-year-old? How did you explain that sometimes love isn't enough to overcome all the obstacles in the way? I'm scared, Maya admitted. Scared that we're not enough for him, that he's going to leave, that you're going to get hurt. Derek sat up in bed. Mama, I'm already hurt, because you won't let us see him, because you're sad all the time, because you're scared of something that hasn't even happened yet. Out of the mouths of babes again. Mr. Ethan told me something, Derek continued. When we were playing chess that last time, he said sometimes you have to make a move even when you're not sure it's the right one, because not moving is also a choice, and sometimes it's the worst choice of all. Maya's eyes filled with tears. When did you get so smart? I've always been smart. Derek gave her a small smile. You just don't always listen. Maya hugged him tight. You're right about all of it. So can we see Mr. Ethan again? Let me talk to him first, okay? I need to fix something. You need to say you're sorry. I do. I really do. After Derek fell asleep, Maya pulled out her phone. She had 17 unread texts from Ethan. She'd been too scared to open them, but now she scrolled through, her heart breaking with each one. I love you. That hasn't changed. Take all the time you need. I'll wait. I miss you, both of you. Please don't give up on us. I'm not going anywhere. Still here. Still waiting. Still loving you. The texts stopped 3 days ago. Maya's stomach twisted. What if she'd waited too long? What if he'd finally given up? She typed a message with shaking hands. Can we talk, please? The response came immediately. Yes. When? Where? Tomorrow. The park where we had our picnic. Noon. I'll be there. Maya set her phone down and took a deep breath. Tomorrow she'd stop running. Tomorrow she'd fight for what she wanted. Ethan was already waiting when Maya arrived at the park. He sat on a bench under the same oak tree where they'd spread their picnic blanket. He looked tired, worn, but when he saw her, his whole face changed. Maya walked toward him slowly, her heart pounding. Hi, she said. Hi. He stood up. Where's Derek? With my neighbor. I thought we should talk alone first. They sat on the bench together, not quite touching. The silence stretched between them. I'm sorry, Maya said finally, for pulling away, for letting Sophie get in my head, for not trusting what we have. Ethan took her hand. I'm sorry too, for not realizing how scared you were, for not understanding the pressure you were under. You don't have anything to apologize for. You've been nothing but honest and patient and—" Her voice broke. "And I threw it back in your face because I was terrified." "Of what? Tell me, really tell me." Maya took a shaky breath. "Of not being enough, of you waking up one day and seeing me the way Sophie sees me, as less than, as someone who doesn't belong in your world." Tears streamed down her face. "Of watching you leave and knowing I was stupid enough to let myself believe the fairy tale." Ethan cupped her face, wiping her tears with his thumbs. "You want to know what I see when I look at you?" Maya nodded, unable to speak. "I see strength, the kind of strength that gets up every morning and works nights and raises an incredible kid alone. I see kindness, the kind that brings terrible coffee to a stranger hiding in the dark. I see beauty, not just physical, though God, you're beautiful, but the kind that comes from being genuinely good." His voice was thick with emotion. "I see home, Maya. When I look at you, I see home." "But Sophie said—" "Sophie is wrong about everything, about me, about you, about us." Ethan's jaw tightened. "And I'm done letting her have any power over my life, over our life." "What do you mean?" "I mean I confronted her, yesterday, at her office, in front of her colleagues." A fierce smile crossed his face. "I told her to stay away from you, to stop trying to sabotage what we have, that she lost any right to have an opinion about my life when she chose to destroy what we had." Maya's eyes widened. "You did that?" "I did. And I told her something else too." He took both of Maya's hands. "I told her I was in love with a woman who makes me want to be better, who challenges me and grounds me and reminds me what's actually important in life. And that woman is you." "Ethan, I'm not finished." He smiled softly. "I told her that you're not a distraction or a phase. You're my future, you and Derek both, and nothing she says or does is going to change that." Maya couldn't speak through her tears. "I know my world seems big and intimidating," Ethan continued. "The company, the money, the expectations. But here's what Sophie doesn't understand. That world doesn't mean anything without someone to share it with. It's just noise and pressure and emptiness." He squeezed her hands. "You fill the empty spaces, Maya. You make everything mean something." "I can't promise I won't get scared again," Maya whispered. "I'm not asking for promises. I'm asking for a chance, a real chance, to prove that this is real, that we can build something that lasts." He pulled her closer. "I love you. I love your son. I love the life we could have together, and I'm willing to fight for it. The question is, are you?" Maya looked into his gray eyes, saw the vulnerability there, the hope, the absolute certainty, and she realized something. She'd been so focused on all the ways this could fail that she'd forgotten all the ways it could work. She'd been so afraid of the ending that she'd stopped living in the present. "Yes," she said, "I'm willing to fight for it." Ethan's smile was like sunrise. "Yeah, yeah." Maya laughed through her tears. "I love you, Ethan. I'm scared out of my mind, but I love you and I want this. I want us. I want to build a life together and see where it goes. Even if it's messy, especially if it's messy." She cupped his face. "I can't promise I'll be perfect. I can't promise I won't freak out sometimes, but I promise I won't run. I promise I'll talk to you when I'm scared. I promise I'll try. That's all I need." Ethan kissed her, deep and slow and full of promise. "We're going to make this work, Maya. I promise you." When they broke apart, both smiling through tears, Ethan pulled something from his pocket. "I have something to ask you. Well, two things, actually." Maya's heart started racing. "First, move in with me. You and Derek both. My place is too big and too empty, and I want to wake up with you every morning. I want to have breakfast with Derek. I want to be part of your daily life, not just the late-night shifts." He paused. "I know it's fast, but when you know, right?" Maya's mind was spinning. Move in together? It was huge, terrifying, and exactly what she wanted. "Yes," she said. "Yes, we'll move in with you." Ethan's grin was brilliant. "Really? Really? Derek's going to lose his mind." "That brings me to the second thing." Ethan's expression turned more serious. "I want to be there, really be there, for both of you. School plays and bedtime stories and chess games and boring weeknight dinners. I want all of it. And I know I'm not his biological father, but if you'll let me, I'd like to be his dad, in every way that matters." Maya was crying again. "He'd love that. He already thinks of you that way." "Good, because I already think of him as my son." Ethan wiped her tears. "We're going to be a family, Maya, a real family. You, me, and Derek, is that okay with you?" "It's more than okay, it's everything." They sat on that bench holding each other as the world moved around them, Families played in the park, dogs barked, children laughed, and Maya finally let herself believe in happy endings. They picked up Derek together. When he saw them both at the door, his face lit up like Christmas. "Mr. Ethan, you're back." "I'm back, buddy, if that's okay with you." "It's more than okay." Derek launched himself at Ethan. "I missed you so much." "I missed you too." Ethan caught him easily. "Hey, we have some news. Want to sit down?" They sat in Maya's living room, soon to be their old living room. Derek bounced on the couch, unable to sit still. "What's the news? Is it good news?" "The best news," Ethan said. "How would you feel about moving to a bigger place with your own room and a yard?" Derek's eyes went wide. "My own room. Your own room. Big enough for your bed and your chess set and anything else you want. And we'd all live there? You and Mama and me?" "All of us," Maya confirmed. "If you want to." "If I want to?" Derek jumped up and down. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes," Ethan laughed. "I was hoping you'd say that. Can I get a dog? Can we play chess every day? Can we—" "One thing at a time, buddy." Ethan ruffled his hair. "But yes to chess, and we can talk about the dog." Derek threw his arms around both of them. "This is the best day of my whole life." Over Derek's head, Maya and Ethan's eyes met. The love there was unmistakable. They were really doing this, building a life together, taking the leap, and for the first time, Maya wasn't afraid. Moving day came 2 weeks later. Ethan's penthouse was everything Maya had imagined and more. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a kitchen bigger than her entire apartment, and a bedroom for Derek with enough space for all his toys and then some. "Mama, look!" Derek ran from room to room. "There's a bathtub as big as a pool, and the closet is huge, and—" He stopped in the doorway of what would be their bedroom. "Mama, you and Mr. Ethan are sharing a room. Does that mean you're really together, like for real?" Maya blushed. "Yes, baby. For real." "Good," Derek grinned. "Tommy at school said his parents share a room because they're married. Are you going to get married?" Ethan appeared behind them carrying a box. "That's a good question, Derek. What do you think? Should I marry your mum?" "Ethan!" Maya's face burned, but Derek was already nodding enthusiastically. "Yes. Then you'd really be my dad, not just pretend." "I'm not pretending," Ethan said seriously. "I'm already your dad in my heart. The paperwork is just details." "So you're going to marry Mama?" Ethan looked at Maya, his eyes soft. "If she'll have me. Maybe not today, but someday, when we're both ready." Maya's heart was so full she thought it might burst. "Someday sounds perfect." They spent the day unpacking and arranging furniture. Clara came by with cookies and congratulations. Derek gave her a tour of his new room at least 5 times. That night, after Derek was asleep in his new bed, Maya and Ethan stood on the balcony overlooking the city. The lights sparkled like stars. "Happy?" Ethan asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "Terrified," Maya admitted, "but yes, happy." "Good terrified or bad terrified?" "Good terrified, the kind that means something matters." She leaned back against him. "Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for not running away, not permanently anyway." He kissed her temple. "We're going to have a good life, Maya. All 3 of us." "I know." And she did. Finally, completely, she believed it. The real test came a month later. Ethan's company was throwing a gala. Black tie, champagne, everyone who was anyone in the tech world. And Ethan wanted Maya by his side. "You don't have to go," he said when he saw her panic. "I can make an excuse." "No." Maya took a deep breath. "No more hiding. We're together. That means facing your world, even the scary parts." "You're sure?" "Not even a little bit, but I'm doing it anyway." Clara went dress shopping with her. They found a simple black dress that made Maya feel elegant without trying too hard. Clara helped her practice small talk and taught her which fork to use for what. "You're going to be amazing," Clara said as they left the boutique. "Just be yourself. That's all Ethan wants." The night of the gala, Maya's hands shook as she put on the dress. Ethan knocked on the bedroom door. "Can I come in?" "Yeah." He walked in and stopped. "Maya, you look— wow." She turned to face him. "Too much?" "Perfect. You look perfect." He crossed to her and took her hands. "Are you okay?" "Nervous. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I use the wrong fork? What if someone asks what I do and I have to say I work the night shift at a hotel?" "Then you tell them exactly that, with your head held high." Ethan squeezed her hands. "You work hard to provide for your son. There's no shame in that. Anyone who thinks otherwise isn't worth your time." "Easy for you to say. I know. But I'll be right beside you the whole night. And if anyone makes you uncomfortable, we leave. Deal?" "Deal." The gala was held in a gleaming hotel ballroom. even fancier than the Grand Meridian. Maya's heart pounded as they walked in, Ethan's hand firmly in hers. Heads turned, people stared. Maya felt the weight of their judgment, their curiosity. But Ethan just smiled and led her through the crowd, introducing her to everyone. "This is Maya Harris, the woman I told you about. Maya, meet Jonathan, he's on the board. Maya runs the night shift at the Grand Meridian, best hotel in the city." He never apologized for her, never downplayed who she was. He introduced her with pride, like she was the most important person in the room. And slowly Maya's nerves settled. She chatted with board members and investors. She laughed at their jokes and told stories about hotel guests. She was herself, and it was enough. Halfway through the night, Sophie appeared. She looked stunning in a red dress, her blonde hair perfect, but when she saw Maya on Ethan's arm, something flickered in her eyes. Surprise, maybe even respect. "Ethan," Sophie said coolly. "Maya." "Sophie." Ethan's voice was polite but distant. "Enjoying the evening?" "Quite. I see you brought your date." "My girlfriend," Ethan corrected. "Maya and I are together, seriously together. I thought I made that clear." Sophie's smile was tight. "Yes, you did." She looked at Maya. "You look lovely, Maya." "Thank you." Maya kept her voice steady even though her heart was racing. "Ethan's very lucky to have you." The words seemed genuine, or at least not actively hostile. "I'm the lucky one," Ethan said, pulling Maya closer. Sophie studied them for a moment. Then she nodded slightly. "I hope you're happy. Both of you. I mean that." And then she walked away. Maya let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. "That went better than expected," Ethan murmured. "She seemed different. Maybe seeing us together made her realize it's really over, that she lost. Or maybe she just moved on." Maya watched Sophie disappear into the crowd. "Either way, I'm glad that's done." "Me too." Ethan spun her onto the dance floor. "Dance with me?" "I don't know how to dance, not like this. Good thing I'm an excellent teacher." He pulled her close, guiding her through the steps. "Just follow my lead." They swayed together, moving through the crowd. Maya rested her head on his chest, feeling his heartbeat under her cheek. "See," Ethan murmured, "you belong here, right here with me." And as they danced under the chandeliers, Maya finally believed him. She belonged, not because she fit perfectly into his world, but because they'd created their own world together, one built on love and trust and vulnerability. 6 months later, Maya stood in the Grand Meridian's lobby, but this time, she wasn't behind the desk. She was a guest attending Clara's retirement party. Clara had tears in her eyes as Maya hugged her. "Look at you, glowing, happy, in love." "All thanks to you," Maya said. "You kept pushing me to take a chance. You just needed a little nudge." Clara squeezed her hand. "How's everything? How's Derek?" "Amazing. He's thriving. Ethan enrolled him in chess club at school. They practice together every night." "And you? Still working nights?" Maya shook her head. "I quit last month. I'm going back to school, starting community college in the fall, education major." Clara's eyes widened. "Maya, that's wonderful." "Ethan's been encouraging me, helping me believe I can do it." Maya smiled. "I'm terrified, but also excited. You're going to be an incredible teacher." Ethan appeared with Derek, who was wearing a tiny suit and looked adorable. "Ladies, are we interrupting?" "Never." Clara hugged them both. "Look at this beautiful family." Derek grinned. "Mr. Dad, says we can get ice cream after this." Maya's heart swelled. Derek had started calling Ethan Dad naturally, without being asked. It fit, like everything else in their new life. "Ice cream sounds perfect," Maya said. They stayed at the party for another hour, laughing and celebrating Clara's decades of service. When they finally left, walking out through the lobby where everything had started, Maya paused. "What is it?" Ethan asked. "Just remembering. That first night. When I brought you terrible coffee and told you that you looked like you were giving up." Ethan smiled. "Best terrible coffee I ever had. You were so broken, so lost." "I was. And then you found me." He cupped her face. "You saved me, Maya, in every way that matters." "We saved each other," she corrected. "Yeah, we did." Derek tugged on both their hands. "Come on. Ice cream." They walked out into the warm evening, hands linked. A family, imperfect and real and whole. Maya looked up at Ethan, at the man who'd been hiding in the dark and now stood in the light, at the man who loved her son like his own, at the man who made her believe in second chances and happy endings. "I love you," she said. "I love you too. Both of you." Derek swung between them as they walked. "Can we get chocolate?" "You can get whatever you want, buddy." "Best day ever," Derek announced. And Maya had to agree, not because it was perfect, not because everything was easy, but because they were together, because they'd chosen each other, because they'd fought for this and won. She'd been so afraid of fairy tales, so convinced they weren't real, but standing here, with Ethan on one side and Derek on the other, she realized something. Fairy tales weren't about perfect people living perfect lives. They were about broken people finding each other and choosing to be brave, choosing to love despite the fear, choosing to believe in something bigger than themselves. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, those choices led to magic, not the kind with glass slippers and fairy godmothers, the real kind, the kind that happened in hotel lobbies and park benches, and ordinary moments that became extraordinary because of who you shared them with. Maya squeezed both their hands and smiled. This was her fairy tale, messy and imperfect and absolutely real, and she wouldn't change a single thing. 1 year later, the hotel lounge looked different during the day, lighter, warmer, less like a hiding place and more like a place where new things began. Maya sat in that same wingback chair where she'd first found Ethan, but this time she wasn't alone. Ethan sat across from her, chessboard between them. Derek was at school and they'd taken the afternoon off just to be together. "Your move," Ethan said. Maya studied the board. She'd gotten better at chess over the past year. Not as good as Derek, but better. She moved her queen. "Check." Ethan's eyebrows rose. "When did you get good at this?" "I've been practicing. Derek's been teaching me." Sneaky. But he was grinning. They played in comfortable silence. So much had changed in a year. Maya was halfway through her first year of college. Ethan had restructured his company to work from home more often. Derek had grown 3 inches and lost 2 teeth. They'd gotten a dog, a golden retriever named Knight. They were a family. In every way that mattered. "Maya," Ethan said suddenly. Remember what I said to Derek about the paperwork being just details?" Maya looked up from the chessboard. "Yeah." Ethan stood up and pulled something from his pocket. A small velvet box. Maya's heart stopped. "I think it's time to handle the details." He opened the box. Inside was a simple ring. Beautiful but not ostentatious. Perfect. "Maya Harris, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband? Will you let me officially be Derek's dad?" His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "Will you build this whole crazy, beautiful life with me? Forever?" Tears streamed down Maya's face. She couldn't speak, could barely breathe. "Yes," she finally whispered. "Yes to all of it." Ethan slid the ring on her finger and pulled her into his arms. They stood there in the middle of the hotel lounge, holding each other tight. Clara appeared from nowhere, wiping her eyes. "I knew it. I knew from that very first night when you brought him terrible coffee." Maya laughed through her tears. "Were you spying on us?" "Maybe a little, but someone had to make sure he did it right." Clara hugged them both. "Congratulations, you two. You deserve every bit of happiness." That evening, they told Derek together. He screamed with joy and tackled them both. "Does this mean we're a real family now?" "We've always been a real family," Ethan said, "but yes, now it's official." "Can I be in the wedding? Can I wear a suit? Can Knight be in the wedding too?" "Yes to all of it," Maya said. As Derek ran off to call his friends, Maya and Ethan stood on their balcony watching the city lights twinkle. "No regrets?" Ethan asked. "Not one." Maya leaned against him. "You?" "Only that I didn't find you sooner. You found me exactly when you were supposed to." Maya turned in his arms. "We found each other." And as they kissed under the stars, Maya thought about the journey that brought them here, the late-night shifts and terrible coffee, the fear and the vulnerability, the choice to be brave, the choice to love. It hadn't been easy, but the best things never were. She'd been a single mother working nights, just trying to survive. He'd been a broken CEO, hiding from the world. 2 people from different places with no reason to fit together. But they had, perfectly, messily, beautifully, because love doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from standing beside someone when they're at their weakest. It comes from choosing each other, again and again, even when it's hard. True strength lies in risking your heart again, even when it's been broken. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to take that risk, you find something worth keeping, something worth fighting for, something that feels like home.